take a look at component installation on the PC-Q09FN. First step we're going to do, we're going to remove the top and the bottom of the unit. So again, simple pop off, and exactly the same on the bottom. Next, I'm going to go ahead and remove the 3.5-inch hard drive and slim optical disk drive tray with 4 screws. And that'll come right out. So you can see, removable. Obviously, slim optical drive, go right in. The blank removes. You've also got a removable 3.5-inch drive tray, which will mount 3.5-inch hard disk. With everything out, you can see we've got an ample amount of room to work with. We'll move all the wiring out of the sides. To the side, I should say. And open up some room to put the motherboard in. And before we do that, let's take out the 2.5-inch drive tray. Cage pops right out and pops right back in. Totally tool-free for your 2.5s. So you can see we've got a good amount of room to work with now. So let's get ready to mount the motherboard. Naturally, first things first, we are going to put in the I/O plate. Snap it right in. As you can see, the standoffs are actually built into the motherboard tray, already installed. Now typically I would have already had my cooler installed, but with the opening in the back of the motherboard tray, I don't have to worry about it. I can do it last as if I was building an actual full-sized computer. So we're going to take and very carefully drop it in. Get it into place, and 4 screws will hold it down. We've got our motherboard in place, and as you can see, plenty of room around it to get your hands in there and work. Still, you know, a little bit of a tight fit, but plenty of room to work. Very nice coincidence using an Asus C77i Deluxe motherboard, which has a full-size VRM, and it's sitting right next to the exhaust fan, so it's going to get some air moving over it, which is great. Nice happy coincidence there. Next I am going to mount up 2.5-inch drive, and we're just going to take the cage, put it right in, and 4 screws will hold it into place. Just 2 on each side. And I'm actually going to mount it with the connectors facing down, since we do have plenty of room down at the bottom of the case to route our wires to it. And with the drive installed into the cage, you can again toss the cage right back in and just lock it into place. Mounting of a 3.5-inch drive, very simple procedure. Drive slides into the drive tray, lines up with the rubber grommets, and tool-free screws will go right into the drive, holding it into place, which then falls right into place. Obviously, mounting of the slim mount CD player, very similar, falls into place and screws in from the side, 2 screws, or top screws, depending on the DVD, CD-ROM that you're using. Another nice feature being, if you're not using a 3.5-inch drive in the build, the cage is removable. 4 simple screws will take the hard drive cage off, giving you more height to be able to use for your cooling. I've gone ahead and wired up the power and the SATA cable. And as you can see, we have enough room between the power supply and the 2.5-inch hard disk drive cage to fit all of our wires with just a single wire tie. Really keeps it out of the way, keeps it neat, and we've still got plenty of room to work with. I've gone ahead and installed the RAM. I've also wired up the front panel connectors. As you can see, wiring's starting to get a little hairy, but I haven't used any of the empty space over here, which I'm not going to, because we're going to work under the predisposition that you're going to have this filled. But remember, you've also got this space to work with, which all this wire could go right in here. So, still plenty of room to work with. Only thing left to do is put in the CPU cooler. As you can see, we've got plenty of room using the stock Intel cooler. Only thing left to do, optical disk drive tray will go back into place. Four screws back in, and we are completed. Very, very simple, easy build. Plenty of room to work with. As you can see, there's a ton of height down here. If you want to go to a bigger cooler, not going to be a problem at all. Get a little more cooling power. Once again, you can use higher end components. If you want to go into an Ivy or Sandy Bridge processor, do a little overclocking, overclock the IGP, you absolutely can. Since there is no room for any type of peripheral card in here, discrete GPU, the IGP, if you want to overclock it, you're going to be able to get the cooling in there to do so. Overall, really nice, clean, simple build. Not a ton of wiring in the way. Like I say, we haven't used all the available space, but even not using this area for wiring, we've got just a really clean install. Now make no mistake, if you do want to upgrade the cooling, you certainly have the room. As you can see, a Noctua NHL12 fits in with absolutely no problem, provided you're not using a 3.5-inch drive in its single fan mode. The optical disk drive will go right into place without an issue with just the single fan. If you did want to use dual fan and you're not using an optical drive, not a problem. You've got plenty of room to use the dual fan mode. It also will fit with a slim mount 120mm fan up top for a dual fan configuration, allowing you to still use the optical drive.